and this is again working. Okay, cool. The earlier stream got nuked. My bad. It went kaput. And uh, nope, Jesse. And this is fine. This is fine. Yep, this is fine working. Okay, so here we do not have any check before creating a new user that another user with that same name should not exist. How to make a column unique in SQL? I think we just write unique, yes, after the name of the column name, data type unique. Okay, so here let's try to create a user with the same name, and we are able to create a user. No error, we got the token. And yes, there is an API to create a user, so that is cool. We have come a little bit far, and look at this. The name of the class or the function is at the top, even though, yeah, which is cool, which is just cool. Okay, so we have to make a change to the SQL schema, setup.sql, and username should be unique. And do we want something else to be unique? White, black, no, everything else is legit. Fine, let's delete the whole database, which I will do right now. Shit, restore chat, and the stream is going fine. Bitrate is low, but shit, yes, bitrate is low. It is like 2-3 MBs per second, but okay, fine, fine. Avian, well, shit. New to Avian? Nope, I'm not new. Avian should know who I am. So that is messed up. If this asks for password, I will. Okay, no, it works. It works. Cool. So it says go to this thing, and databases nothing was visible, so that is cool. Delete the database. Delete database. Create database. Create database. And yep, create database. Chess. Add database. Cool, password was not visible. Now I will like hide the screen and make a connection to the database to create the tables again in this new one. And what is, by the way, 87 into 84? Shit. 87 into 84, 8, 6,400, 560, 6,960, 6,960, 320, 320, 7,200, 310, 7,310, 7,280, 7,308. Shit, okay, that was correct. Cool. Yes, let me connect to the database. 1 minute, I will hide the screen. Yep, screen is not visible. Cool. Just 1 minute, making uh, a connection to the database. Postgres avian database. Postgres connection. Okay, okay, almost done. And cool. Okay, connection is made, and yep, screen. You can see the screen now. this is the whole thing. Let's create the tables again, but first I think this C to chess, and we are inside chess. Tables are created, and now we can shade since I didn't change the database, so that is good. That is good. Run the server, and if I make another request to make this, let's say, okay, user was created, but if I make another user with the same name, user couldn't be created. That is cool. Internal server error. This should not be internal server error though. This should legit should not be internal server error. That is kind of messed up. Database.ts. Here we are creating a new user. Here await try, and this thing just throws an error. This should not throw an error. This might throw a server error. Yep. Okay, this is just throwing error, which is kind of not very good. User not created. Okay, whenever this thing throws an error, the one that is calling this access dot this thing, uh, yep, this is calling data dot create user. This thing should be in try catch block. This is no problem, but this thing should be in try catch block. Catch e and shit payload. Return should also be there. And here, if there is an error, then returns E. Does that work? Return E. Let's see what is the error now. It should not be internal server error. There is error because server is not running. Now, yep, user not created message. User could not be created. That is, we have a name and a message. In case of error, we will say return error true and message would be e dot e. What do we get now? Error true and message was name user not created, like whatever the message is. Yeah, that is kind of cool. Let's add Zord. One add Zord. And what do we do now? This page will walk you through basics of creating schemas, parsing data, and using inferred types for complete documentation on Zord's API. Visit there. Before you can do anything else, you need to define a schema. For the purposes of this guide, we will use a simple object schema. Mini Zord, Zord. Let's not go for the mini thing. Zord is fine. Zord object. Simple object schema. Okay, we create a schema. Username is going to be a string and XP is going to be a number. Parsing data. Given any Zord schema, use .parse to validate an input. If it is valid, Zord returns a strongly typed deep clone of the input. Okay, we get everything if it is correct. Note, if your schema uses certain asynchronous APIs like async, refinement or transformations, you will need to use parse async method instead. Okay, Billie Eilish. Handling errors. When validation fails, the dot parse method will throw an error, Zord error instance with granular information about the validation issue. Granular. Put this in try block, catch error. If error, if error is an instance of Zord dot error, error dot issues. Issues will have something like this. Expected this, expected number, message invalid input, expected number, invalid input, expected is string, and issues is a list of issues. Okay, to avoid a try catch block, we can use safe parse. Okay, method to get back a plain result object containing either the successful parsed data or a Zord error. The resulting type is a discriminated unit, so you can handle both cases conveniently. Safe parse, if not result dot success, if there was an error then Zord dot error, otherwise we get the result in result dot data. Inferring types, from this we can create legit types which we can use for type inference. Const pair of type player, which was created by Zord infer type of players. In some cases the input and output types of a schema can diverge. Input and output type of schemas can diverge. For example, the dot transform API can convert the input from one type to another. In these cases, you can extract the input and output types independently. Dot transform val dot length. We don't have to do that, but okay, everything else is cool. Let's have some place to put these types. Interference is Zord types dot ts as okay, and const user create type is new user dot object which has username which is of type z dot. Okay, how do we say it if not like this? That is exactly how we say it. Const player equal to z dot object username dot new. Don't we say new? Yep, we do not say new. Username and password. Pass, just pass z dot string. And how there is also a way, I guess, to create restrictions on the type that is given. Defining schemas, customizing error, formatting error, metadata, restriction, codex, ecosystem for library, defining schemas, string, begin, coercion, whatever that is, parse, input, literals, okay, yes, shit. Username, maximum length, minimum length, exact length, regex should match some specific type, ends with this, includes this, uppercase this, or we can perform simple operations. String formats, okay, shit, it has some string formats. Email, okay, so what should our username look like? Minimum length should be, it is minimum or minimum length. It is just min, not minimum length. Minimum length is going to be 8, and maximum length is going to be 32. 32 is good enough. and this thing only contains English alphabets. This thing only contains English alphabets and only a hyphen. English alphabets and hyphens. Save encode transform save parts overwrite lowercase register read only optional nullable non-empty slugify refine default length encode parse catch brand apply with trim meta or and how to say only how to restrict characters used in Zord string restrict some regex shit yes okay regex you can give a regex fine regex and how do we give a regex you can directly give the regex with forward slash between the forward slash backward slash backward slash is not cool yo okay here comes regex we will say a to z or hyphen any number of times I think that works at least one and the mirror message would be only contains English lowercase and uppercase this then a to capital Z and then hyphen only contains and also like underscore these would be the allowed characters English characters and this and underscore with some or we can like give some abuse here in the message I think that is good enough okay and password minimum length 8 maximum length for the password is 32 and regex uh, regex is should one of these characters should contain a lowercase an uppercase how do I say this should contain must contain a lower this thing just gives a range I think or maybe it is this okay, let's ask chat gpt I don't know Marina does this regex check uh, says that any lower or uppercase English character and this and this. We are just checking the regex and hello. Not quite shit. There is issue with that regex. The regex we should use brackets does not work as you intended. What it actually does it literally matches the string this one or more times. Okay. So yes, what we wrote before was better than what we wrote afterwards. These Okay, how do we say must contain lowercase, must contain uppercase, must contain a number? Yes, numbers could also be there. Here, numbers could also be there, 0 to 9, in any order. In any order. How do I write a regex where I have some characters which must be there in the string in any order at least one each. Each character should be there at least once each. Hello. Wait, we are using Zod and you are Zodiac, so that is something. Feeling so light today, finally past the most confusing and difficult part of the parser. Let's go. You are celebrating that too in relatively clean and simple way. That is nice. Now only lookup table is left. Once that is done, I can implement optimizations like constant folding, okay, and simple dead code elimination and embedding of lookup table in the binary too for storing strings and other such things, so register can reference the position of data. Okay, I like understood half of it, and very cool for you. Regex all characters must be present any order. Yep. From the shit. I must also say from the start till the end, until the end of the world. You can achieve this by look aheads. Each look ahead asserts that a particular character must exist somewhere in the string. Simple strings containing A, B, C in any order. Yes. Look ahead. We actually need to use look ahead. Okay. Maybe there might be a better way to do this when we are using Zod. I'm using Zod. Is there some direct way to tell Zod this instead of using a regex? Bruce thinking. Regex is actually the simplest, they say. Shit. Okay, so we will have to use regex. Look ahead. What is look ahead? Look ahead A must exist somewhere. Question mark equal to dot star A. Look ahead B must exist somewhere. Look ahead C must exist somewhere. Dot plus match the actual string, one or more characters, start and end. Okay. Start till end. That is crazy. Like look ahead. Look ahead for small characters, big characters, for digits. Shit, we can here instead of writing this, we could say B. And then look ahead for these things. People do use these things in their passwords. So yes. Starting till the end. Question mark equal to dot. Question mark equal to dot. A to Z. And question mark equal to dot star somehow capital A to capital Z. Question mark equal to dot star D and dot end. Is that it? What is 8? 8 is telling the minimum length. Dot plus plus There is no plus here. Plus. And also some strange characters could be there, question mark equal to dot star, and those strange characters are, we can add in our password apostrophe and 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 hash dollar exclamation mark. That would be it. Export this so that this can be imported, and that is cool. Okay, Zod types and user.ts. Create user would be type create user equals z dot input type of create user dot let's say user create Zod export. Okay, and this is being imported by the APIs as user create. We don't have to do as user create or this whole thing. Now we will be using Zod. Const response is Zod dot or user create Zod dot parse, say parse, not rec body from if rest dot success. If we got success, then we will like move forward. If no success, then return error true, and message is going to be a list of messages. Res dot error dot message. Open this too, we will see. Create user. Yes, here we have to create user. But if this is true, then on username and pass equals res dot data, and we are cool. So we have to input in some like specific way. Also, shouldn't the regex be matching the whole string? It is now. It was not earlier. Yes, just right when I started getting the grasp of regex. Is yes, there are just a lot of things. You have separate thing for API, separate thing for talking to the database, separate thing for validating user input, and what other things are we using? JWT separate. Yes, separate thing for everything. Once you create a perfect regex, the superiority complex you feel. Yes, copying pasting doesn't give that satisfaction. Yep. You'd like rather just read this thing and manually write this instead of copying this exact thing and pasting it. It just feels different. Postman, we will create a user with like bad input. There is a user named Jesse. Error because server is not running, and I created a key map to run the server. True. Error true. Shit, yes, we got error, and this is the error. Like that is some Diabolical error. Format regex. Shit. First of all, okay, I guess username should not be 8 characters. 8 characters is too small for username. That is a bit too restrictive. Maybe four. Three. Shit, yes. Three. Let's go three. And maximum is 32. Back. Run. Jesse would be able to do it now. Yep, we are getting one less error because the error is still again from Zod because okay, uppercase pink man, and instead of P we will have, no, we will have P, we won't have A. Instead of A we will have this, and N would be capital. Still error from Zod, but what is this error? Password is not matching. Lowercase, upper, number, there has to be a number also. 3. Okay, now error is still from Zod. Too small. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yes, shit, this is too small. 8. Now, big enough. Now the error would be from the database because Jesse already exists. Hell, hell, yes. We would be able to create. Yep. Error false, and we also got the token. That is pretty cool. And we can like legit copy this thing. We can go to JWT website. Okay, that is something. I said to go to regex 101, enter an example, correct, which should match, and wrong, which should not, password, and write the regex reading the rules given on site. Regex 101. Okay. Before that, one thing, JWT web token. Shit, why am I copying? Yes, the payload is this username and user ID and expiration date. That is cool. Regex 101. Hmm. .com. Insert your test string explanation matching format. Where does the regex go? Regex goes here. We will write the whole thing again, from start till end. Look for question mark equal to dot star a to z. Yes, and again question mark equal to dot star capital A to capital Z, and then question mark equal to dot star d, and question mark equal to dot star, and no, and that is good enough. That is good enough. Test string hello processing, that is positive look ahead asserts that regex below matches. Okay, this is explaining the thing. Unable to initialize the regex engine. This is cool part. Positive look ahead matches a single present character present. This is a positive look ahead. Matches any character except for line terminators. This thing, and matches the previous token between 0 and unlimited times. What is this? Is positive look ahead. Character between this range. Okay, that is like fine. Okay. Okay, Zod. We have to parse the error so that we give the correct error to the front end. Here we are just returning message. This dot error and also log or data below console.log this or data. Run this and we will break the regex here and also here at two places. Let's see, we get regex error here and shit, data below, data is undefined, new Zord error. This was the whole thing, returned Zord error. That is a lot of things. Dot flatten dot if we output the message, then what? In message we have a list. Okay, in message we have a list. We want to return this. Yeah, okay, this works. This works. Hmm, not very cool. Hello. Here I'm using TypeScript with bun for the backend, and for writing APIs I'm using this thing called Elysia, and there are just, yeah, till now that is the whole thing. For Zord we are using Zord for the input that is given to the backend from the front end for validation, and we're using Claude for helping. Yes, we'll figure out what to use at the front end. We will use React for the front end, but let's see. Okay, this is not going correctly. Why is this coming out like this? As a list of strings. Why is message a list of strings? Because shit, legit, it is a list. That is very. Now I think it is cool. Yep, now this should be cool. If you give error, nope, it is still being outputted as a string. Why? And not as a object. Make this an object and expand, nope, as Zord dot error, if that is a thing. Zord error, conversion of string. Why is message a string? Message is not a string. Message is not a string. Message is a list of some messages. We can write this in a try catch block also. Okay, try body equals user create zod dot parse body. This might give error, this might not give error. And shit, why is this scoped variable? Block scoped variable body used before its declaration. Body is right here. Body is shit. Body is right here. Okay, okay, body is also here. Body parts. If no error, then cool. Mm, But using try catch is lame. Username and password. We want to return the correct message to the back to the front end, but this is not happening. Error has two things, username and password. It does not have two things, username and password. C Zod save parse save parse save parse. Look for save parse. Watch Postgres PG. Bro is too succinct. Hello, cooking again? Are we? Yes, you want to cook? Like, you can cook some crack, I guess. It was always funny to see. To me, how vastly different documentation website is for web development as compared to documentation for any C library. This looks beautiful. Look at this. Very beautiful. And yep, this is just beautiful. What is odd? Nope. Basic usage. Handling errors. Parse. Save parse. Result dot error. Zod error instance. As Zod error, and in there message is a string. No, message is not a string. Ah, shit. Why are they treating message as a single string? This is a Zod error instance. Here, Zod error, legit Zod error. What are the things that this thing has is empty. Extends Zod error, this one. Okay, this one. Export declare const Zod error constructor. Zod error interface, Zod real error, extends Zod error. If you go to Zod real error, we are just coming back here. Oh shit, both of these are like side by side. Hmm. Go back, go back. Lord Claude, help. Um, when Zod is giving error, it also gives message which is a list of error messages, but the type inference is inferring it as a string. That is a problem. Ein Problem. Yeah, and that is what I am saying. The development websites are just too visually stimulating with sequence. It always seems like it was made by a school child who was taught 5 minutes. No, you cannot write this in 5 minutes of HTML. Like, this looks beautiful, and you can also look at next website. What is this? Next.js. Their documentation is also pretty cool. And one documentation that you would one documentation website that you would really like is Hyperland. They have a pretty cool website with blocks. Yep, these things. Look at this. This is not 5 minutes of HTML. And shit, if you watch F1, then you might know Lando Norris, and he has a website, landonorris.com, and look at his website. It is loading. That's some cool loading. GIF. Look at this. This is a website. This is happening on the browser. This is cool. If you scroll down, this is what happens. This scrolls horizontally, and this is just cool. Bro has some money to spare. This is a cool website. Lando Norris. See, documentation website looks like it was written by a 5-year-old. Web development are always, yep, they are cool looking. Hyperland is actually cool looking. Regex, cut that out. Unique, done. And now this. Zod error message type issue. The problem, parse e.message. Yep, this thing is being treated as a string. Is JSON stringified string, not the actual arrays? Use, say which is being used, schema save parse input. If not, success console.log result.error.errors. Errors is not there. You are lying. Try catch. I do not want to use try catch. Get a flat list of messages, which would be preferable. Errors is not there as a type. Console.log error. Yep. And look below. Back send this. Okay, we got name Zorder, message this thing. I think if we were to do, maybe maybe this might work if we were to convert. Okay, let's go. That does work. That does work. Make this a list and open everything up. Let's see, what do we get? Okay, cool. We are getting a list of errors, which is cool, which is cool. This can be used by the front end to tell the user what their mistake is. Original code too small. Minimum was supposed to be 3. We got too small. too small. Yeah, front end can just display this message. Too small, expected string to have three or greater characters, which is this. And if we add one more character, what is the error now? Too small, expected string to have 8 plus characters. Okay, if we were to give this characters and remove the numbers, what is the error? Invalid string must match pattern this. Okay, we should not tell the user this thing. This is okay, this is horrible. This is horrible. We should not tell the user this. Can we give multiple regex so that each regex has its own message? Yep, this regex does not have. Okay, we can just give this regex message here. Must contain. How can we give each regex its own message so that if small characters are missing, this message will go to the front end, and if big, I think we don't have to be too specific in the error that we are giving to the user. No, in websites we do get like proper error, whatever we are missing. Yep. Imagine being one of the most important open source projects to ever exist and having website worse than an individual who's not even a programmer. Look at you, LVM, FMPEG. Yes, FMPEG. If you know about Fabrice Ballard, this person, who is he? French CP, uh, computer programmer, and this is his homepage. Just a list, a link to projects, and what are the projects this guy has made? FFmpeg, okay, Q, QEmax, QEMU. These are the projects this person has made, and this is his website. So that is just like cool in its own way. In its own way, if you are a programmer, you should not feel like problem with this. Okay, specific messages. How do we give? We can add multiple regex. Yes, we can have multiple regex. Okay. One regex is this. I guess this can be the last one. Yep, this can be the last one. And here, regex somewhere. From the starting till the end. No. Somewhere there must be A to Z, A to Z, some number, at least once, somewhere. And message must contain lower level, lower case characters, and here must contain upper case characters and must contain digits and must contain special. characters, and the only special characters are these. Okay, digit space is not a thing. Must contain special characters. Okay, and this error will not have a message. Will have a empty message, or this will just say fix this. Okay, let's see how it goes now. Right now in the password, we do not have a number. Must contain digit characters, which is not cool. Must contain digits is cool. Wait, will I get the updated? No, not the updated message. Okay, if I add a digit, must contain special characters. Okay, let's add a special character. Okay, let's remove legit everything. Too small must contain lowercase characters, must contain uppercase characters, must contain digit characters. Yes, must contain special characters and fix this. Cool, that is good. That is good. We are properly getting error using Zord. APIs access. Okay. Okay, when someone asks to create an account, we do a Zord pass. We using Zord, we check if we are getting the right thing or not. And if we are getting the right thing, we get the username and password. We get the payload after creating user, which is inside try catch block. If this thing fails, then we return an error with the error message. And if this works, then we get a token and we give the token back to the user. That is pretty cool. This is for creating a user. Now for logging in a user. Post slash user slash login. This is the place, and async function. This takes body parse. This will have the same format as for logging in. Yep. So response response is user create raw dot say parse body, and we can just like legit copy paste from here. Yep. Yes. And then after validating the input, here we do not want to create a user, we want to log in a user. What does that look like, logging in a user? We have to check the user. Is there a method? Get user? No, this is not it. Verify user, yes. This takes in username and password. Select user from this, get the user, but not password dot verify sync is verify if the password is correct. After getting the username and password, we find a user with that username. Then we check the password, and if the password and password, if the password and the thing is correct, then payload is returned. Otherwise, we throw errors. Cool. So here, instead of create user, we do verify user with username and password. We generate the token and we return the token. Cool. Otherwise, we give error. Okay, that is cool. We have two endpoints. And do we need to do something else? We are also create JWT has been taken care of. Zord is also being used. We are using Elysia for the backend API. We are also hashing the password. We are also storing the password and verifying it with the database. That is some cool stuff. Okay. Shit. Hello. TCC Tiny C compiler is perhaps one of the best projects C created for a beginner. Okay, that is cool. And that is some cool thing. I'm using bad website for documentation, but seriously, it does sometimes make me wonder if they deliberately avoid writing simple CSS for dark mode on purpose. I don't know. Okay, messages are getting redirected. Okay, user create Zod. Here is checking whenever whenever a request comes from the front end to the back end, then the body which is sent by in the attached to that request must have a specific type. And what is that type? That should have two things. One is username and the other is password. Username should be a string, should be minimum of 3 characters, maximum of 32 characters, and should match this regex. So Zord is checking things, verifying that the body sent by the user is not malicious, right? Because the user might not send username and password, they might send something else, and I do not want to process it. And Zord is also verifying, yes, it is verifying the minimum length and the maximum length for the password, and also must contain lowercase character, uppercase, digits, and special characters. These things are being done by Zord. Otherwise, we would manually have to do it. Sounds bad. Okay, cool, cool. We can create a user, log in a user. Let's create a user, a username. Let's create your username. Student numbers be more readable than digit. I changed digit characters. It is like digits now in Zord. Mhm. Must contain digits. Like cool, good enough. If you're playing chess, you should know. Let's create a user. User. Your name Archit and pass. Oh, what should be your password? Capital R password and 1 2 3. That is good enough, I guess. Shit. Server is down. Now it is up. Okay, this is your JWT. You are a user now, a legit user. Cool. If we were to log in instead, log in, you get this. Cool. And if we change the password, wrong password. Let's go. So it is working. Cool. Yep, is what for validating user input, user body by the user. Cannot it be done using simple regex and length checking? It can be done, but that would not, that would be easier. My bad. Uh, it's my bad. You can change your password. Okay, we have API for this, for authentication. And what else? What to do next? Mm, Commit, git commit, yes. Um, Added Zod and user log in and sign in. This is going good. And now back, not back to Elysia, but with Elysia. Encapsulation. Yes, I want to understand how Elysia, this library works. And look at this. There is a cool structure that I have in the backend. Index.ts. This initializes an Elysia object, new Elysia. And this is telling Elysia to use this Elysia object, which is this router is another Elysia object which is being incorporated or added to this app Elysia object. And what is this router? A router is just another Elysia object which is using this access Elysia object, and this access Elysia object is the final thing which has these two endpoints, slash user slash create and slash user slash login. And why is this like so? Because I do not want all the API backend routes to be right here in the main file. So I created this directory, APIs directory. Here I will be here this apis.ts will import all of the other Elysia objects from all other files and export them as a single Elysia object like this router. And I can create authentication.ts, middleware.ts, and I can create a like categorize all of these backend points into different files like this. So that is pretty cool. And after creating a endpoint, I can just go to apis.ts, import that new endpoint. Let's do this like root.ts here, import Elysia and const app equals Elysia object and export default app and app dot delete, let's say shit capital A, root, and this will, let's say, also have id params id. Wait, isn't this how this was supposed to be? ID there is some problem, comma params id. No, id is being returned here. Expected comma